Part 112. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 1142. The second update is here, thank you sir, it's very important for the tip. Joe Mikang looked at his little wife with a dark look, am I so stupid in your eyes? You still need Grandpa Wan to call me and complain to me to guess? Qian Yan and Qian Gang, who had been honest for a while, attended a party in the circle and said that Grandpa was responsible for everything. Thinking about Grandpa Wan's temper, they could only guess that they were the same. Crazy reading of novels. Chu Xia still looked puzzled, you can also have access to their circle. Grandpa Wan is here, can I not pay attention? Joe Mikang sighed helplessly, do you think I am so heartless that I don't care about anything when Grandpa is gone? Are you kidding me for being so heartless? Joe Mikang. What does it mean to seek to inflict a crime? Why bother without words? This is. Zhao Yulan glared at her daughter, you kid, how can you talk? If Xiaomi can be a teacher at this age, she must think more about everything than you do, so don't always find fault. Chu Xia curled her lips reluctantly, he is indeed more thoughtful than me. He even coaxed his mother to turn to him. Dad is also facing him. Lin Bao he looked at his daughter with a smile, silly girl, your parents are facing Xiaomi to explain that Xiaomi is really good to you. You should be happy. If you are still jealous here, you will be too soon. Now that I'm a mother, I'm not shy. Grandpa. Chu Xia looked at Mr. Wan pitifully, I have fallen out of favor. Ha ha ha. Mr. Wan laughed happily, anyone in this family may fall out of favor, but you will not. Don't worry. Hey, the fact I saw is that Joe Mikang is more favored than me. After Chu Xia finished speaking, she raised her eyebrows at Joe Mikang proudly. However, you can't stay here often, so you will have to give up your seat to me soon, hee hee. Okay, I'll give you my seat. Joe Mikang patted her head lovingly, you must listen to your elders and never force yourself to do something beyond your ability. I will try to come over to see you every week, and you should stop running back and forth before 3 months. If I can't make it, I'll ask Mom and Grandma to come over and see you. Okay, Chu Xia didn't talk back to him about this, and agreed obediently. I will arrange for someone to send Mrs. Yin here when I go back. Does Grandpa Wan have anything special to say? Joe Mikang looked at Mr. Wan and asked. I'll write you a letter to bring to her. We still need to seek her opinion on this matter. We can't deprive others of their autonomy and just make decisions for them. Grandpa. Chu Xia looked at Mr. Wan with a gossipy face, in this case, do you still plan to marry Mrs. Yin? Mr. Wan sighed, let's talk about it later. This is not something I can decide on my own. It was she who proposed not to get married, not me. Chu Xia also sighed, sister-in-law Yin proposed not to get married. In addition to worrying about trouble in her family, she should also be worried that Aunt Wan would be unhappy. Grandfather. If you have feelings for Mrs. Yin, don't delay any longer. You have been thinking about pleasing your daughter all your life. In the end, she was injured, and so was she. Just to please her family, she ended up getting hurt. If you waste your time like this, you will definitely regret it. You're so young, you can talk all the time. Mr. Wan looked at her funny, I don't know how much experience you have. I have no experience, but I have experience in books. I have liked reading books since I was a child. You don't know that although talking on paper is a bit unrealistic, most of them are still on point, right? Chu Xia looked at Joe Mikang, please agree. Joe Mikang nodded cooperatively, yes. That's pretty much it, Chu Xia told him with a smile, then turned to look at Mr. Wan, I'm a junior and shouldn't mess around, but I really don't want to see you and Sister Yin making things difficult for you. You kid. Wan Lao looked helpless, you are doing this for our own good, I know, to be honest, Your grandma Wan has been gone for so many years, and I have always been alone, so I don't feel bad about it. I thought about marrying Xiaoyin just to give her a future. If she stayed single like this all the time, she would always receive sarcastic comments and criticism from others when she returned to her parents' home. When you become a grandfather, you are still like you when you were young. You still talk about feelings and fall in love? The old man shook his head. Isn't that the same as the old lunatic? Chu Xia had a look of disapproval. Grandpa, you can't say that. Some people can still find love after they are over 80 years old. Xia. Zhao Yulan couldn't help hearing her daughter's words getting more and more mysterious. Which book did you read this nonsense from? There is no love story between 82 and 28 yet. No matter what she says, it won't resonate. So she has no choice but to be vague. Mom, I also forgot some book. Anyway, there is such a book. It's a story, but it's still true. Uncle Wan, don't pay attention to this child. He likes to talk nonsense since he first came here. Zhao Yulan said and couldn't help but glare at her daughter. The story was all made up and cannot be believed. Haha. Mr. Wan smiled and waved his hand. Yulan, don't scold Chu Xia. What she said makes sense. However, with a personality like mine, it is impossible to look for love at an early age. I said that I plan to be with Xiaoyin, mainly for her sake, hoping that one day when I leave, her life would be guaranteed. Back then, I found several staff members to take care of me, but they all rejected me. She was the only one who came here willingly. I remember this feeling. When she comes this time, I will mention it to her again to see what she means. If she is willing, we can have a lot of fun together as a family and get things done. If she doesn't want to, let's not mention it again in the future. I'll tell her privately, don't show it, so as not to make her uncomfortable. Uncle Wan, don't worry, we won't reveal anything. Yes, Uncle Wan, we understand this. Grandpa, this is right. The whole family rushed to make guarantees. Chu Xia looked at the silent Master Zhou and said, you haven't expressed your opinion yet. Come on, Grandpa wants everyone to express their opinion. Zhou Mikang rubbed her head and looked at Mr. Wan with a smile. The old man quickly waved his hand. Okay, with your temper, if you can worry about it, unless the sun comes out from the west. Throughout the afternoon, the whole family gathered together to chat. After Wang Zhongliang and Qin Yingfen came back, Zhao Yulan went to the kitchen to help, and Zhou Mikang pulled Chu Xiaolai over. You have only been sitting here this afternoon. Come on, go out and do some activities. Don't be lazy when I'm not around from now on. You think too much. Chu Xia interrupted him, I have to go to class. I walk around the campus every day. I can't be lazy even if I want to. That's right. Zhou Mixang smiled and said, ignore this matter. Chu Xia had a black line, why did you ignore me? Let's go walk around the campus. Teacher Tongzi took her hand, it's too cold outside. Is the temperature inside the campus the same as outside? Chu Xia stared at him speechlessly. From what you say, it's like the air conditioner is on campus. How can it be the same? Zhou Mikang dragged her hand towards the school gate. The wind is blowing outside, and the campus is blocked by a wall, so it will be warmer no matter what. Besides, I have to understand what you are studying. Place. Just go, why are you talking so much? Chu Xia rolled her eyes and followed him into the campus obediently. Then, she regretted it, the division commander Tong Zi was wearing a military uniform, it was too eye-catching. As soon as the two of them entered the school gate, they attracted a lot of eyes. She felt uncomfortable all over, but the teacher Tongzi had a calm face and pulled her forward with a sideways glance. Come back when you are wearing casual clothes. Okay, Chu Xia discussed in a low voice, this will attract too much attention. It will be difficult for others to recognize me in the future. Huh, Joe Mikang tilted his head and looked at her. Are you worried that others will see me with you? Ah, Chu Xia was stunned, with a look of confusion on her face. You did it on purpose. Yes, I did it on purpose to let everyone know that you have a master. Chu Xia had a black line. Master, is your brain made of tofu? Even if you don't lead me in to declare my autonomy, everyone will understand when my belly bulges, right? It's easy to misunderstand when you can't drum up. You don't believe me? No, I believe you very much, but it's better to do less than to do more. Well, she really lost to him. It was probably the first time that the teacher, Tongzi, could be jealous so confidently. Since he is so worried, then she should stop being pretentious and just watch and know each other. What's the big deal? Thinking this way, she no longer felt awkward and allowed her teacher's Wangzi to hold her hand and continue walking. Otherwise, let's go directly to Lin Mengran and the others. Maybe Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo are here too. Just to see if they have settled in, we can go back to our house for dinner together, okay? When he heard that she used the word our family, the teacher Tongzi, who was originally a little unhappy that his young wife did not cherish the time alone with him, immediately became elated and nodded immediately, complying with his young wife's wishes. The girls' dormitory was not convenient for men to enter, so Joe Mikang waited downstairs. Chu Xia went up to room 206 on the second floor. Sure enough, both Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo arrived. Seeing the sudden appearance, they both looked happy. However, Lin Mengran moved faster than them and stepped forward to hold Chu Xia's hand. I still plan to wait. They've finished cleaning up and are looking for you together. Yang Xiaoli and Wu Jingbo looked at the two of them in a daze, with puzzled expressions on their faces. When did the relationship between you two become so good, written in big characters clearly on their faces? What expressions do you two have? Lin Mengran rolled his eyes at them. Is it possible that in your hearts, Chu Xia and I can't be good friends? No, 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 Yang Xiaoli waved her hands repeatedly. It's so unexpected, mainly because I've never seen you be so close to anyone before, haha. To be continued. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 1143. Second update. The website is worth your collection. Why don't you coax him first and then eat him? Why don't you give him to me and I'll give him a hug, Lu Meijun said as she reached out to Luo Xiaoxian, gesturing for her to give Long to her. This is not a matter of hugging or not. Luo Xiaoxian sighed, you will understand when you become a mother. This is a demonstration for you, bastard. It wasn't until Luo Xiaoxian started to untie the quilt with a grimace on her face that Lu Meijun realized, pull it down. Well, Luo Xiaoxian looked at the others apologetically, if you can't eat anymore, I apologize. He has to find this time to do it, and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, what's the big deal? Let's see what you're talking about. Chu Xia rolled her eyes at her, put down her chopsticks, and stepped forward to help. After cleaning up, she went to bring the wash basin and let Luo Xiaoxian wash her hands first, and then washed herself. Hands, sat back and picked up chopsticks to continue eating, and stared at Luo Xiaoxian, who was sitting there without moving. If you don't get used to it, you will be hungry in the future. The point is, it doesn't matter if you are hungry, if your milk becomes less okay, it's Long who suffered a serious crime, can you bear it? Nan Bei often did this kind of thing before. Luo Xiaoxian looked at Chu Xia with disbelief, that's not right, I've never seen him before, don't lie to me. TCH. Chu Xia rolled her eyes at her, you saw them twice when they were just out of confinement. It's normal not to meet them. You have to go through these things when you have a child, so you force adapt yourself, he said while looking at Jun Daodu who was gloating about his misfortune. You can't help it, you don't need to smile so happily. I'm not laughing at this. Jun Daodu waved his hands repeatedly, who has done this kind of thing all the time. I have already adapted to it. So seeing Xiaoxian like this, I find it particularly funny. Have you already adapted to it? Luo Xiaoxian frowned. We spent the confinement period together. I have never seen Hu do such a thing. He didn't even make a draft when he lied to others. After I came back, I was greedy and ate some fruit. It was a bit cold. Unexpectedly, Hu always had diarrhea, so. Jun Daodu spread his hands. I really got used to it. The first time, I was also so nauseous that I couldn't eat, so my mother told me that after she gave birth to me and Kyuakyo, she never put away the cake and continued to eat. She also smelled it every time, saying that the newborn was healthy and unhealthy. You can tell by the taste of the cake you eat every day. Really or not, Luo Xiaoxian's eyes widened in shock. Your Aunt Lan actually smells your daddy. I don't think someone as clean as Aunt Lan would be able to do such a thing. Do you think my mother would lie to me about such a thing? Jun Daodu rolled her eyes at her. If you dare to say this in front of my mother, she will definitely fall out with you. Okay, it's all my fault. Don't tell Aunt Lan what I said. Luo Xiaoxian quickly begged for mercy. I was wrong. I eat, why don't I just eat now? Niu, we are still happy. Lu Meijun looked at Zhang Niu sitting next to her, right? Yes, Zhang Niu nodded, hesitated, and then said, but we will have to face this sooner or later, right? Anyway, I am happy in front of me. No, Zhang Niu bit her lip. When I see how they are now, I am very envious and regret not getting married at that time. I should have gotten married first. That way, my father-in-law and mother-in-law would be happier. Niu. Lu Meijun looked at Zhang Niu with her mouth open. She didn't expect such an honest person to say such words. It really refreshed her understanding of her. Niu, if my parents knew what you thought like this, they would definitely be very happy. Luo Xiaoxian looked at Zhang Niu with soft eyes, but don't regret it, don't blame yourself, it's just me and Daodu's reckless character can do such a thing. For someone as traditional as you, it is too difficult to make such a decision. Moreover, your family's situation is also different. If you get married in such a hurry, the people in the village will definitely make irresponsible remarks. It is best to wait for my brother to come back and do it properly. Zhang Niu responded, with a hint of choking in her voice, I know I said this a bit in hindsight, but I really regret it, you have to believe me. I believe you, of course I believe you. Luo Xiaoxian quickly held her hand, you are too sensitive. What I said was true, and I didn't mean to sound nice. Real. Of course it's true. Zhang Niu sniffed and smiled sheepishly, you used to look for me when you came back, but you didn't show up this time. I thought you hated me. Okay, I said Meijun was sensitive at that time, but actually you are the most sensitive one. Sighing, Luo Xiaoxian looked at her helplessly, sister, I have just given birth, can I be like before? I'm sorry. Zhang Niu's face turned red, I forgot about this. Everyone. Is this something that can be forgotten? Zhao Yulan came in, looked at the two grandsons who were sleeping soundly, and shook her head in a funny way, why are these two sleeping so well today? All the relatives want to see them. It seems that these two little guys don't want to see people. Then he looked at the people who were staring at Zhang Niu in confusion, what's wrong with you? It's nothing. There was just a little misunderstanding due to lack of communication. Now it's all settled. Chu Xia smiled and moved to the side, Mom, you should sit down and have something to eat. There are so many people outside. You've gone to greet people, but you haven't had anything to eat, right? Mom is not the protagonist today, how can I not have something to eat? Zhao Yulan smiled and rubbed her daughter's head, then looked at Jun Daodu, Daodu will go and persuade your mother later, she drank a little too much today. My mother drank. Jun Daodu looked surprised. Ye Zhao Yulan nodded, tables are toasting. Although it's red wine, there are too many people. It's impossible to bear it. We don't know her very well, and it's hard to talk to her. Your dad, I tried to persuade her, but she said that today was a big day and I would be sorry if I didn't drink. But, after a pause, she continued, although your mother said so, I can see that she is worried about something. No matter what you say, you can persuade her to lighten up and take time out in the evening. The two of you should have a good chat and don't let her keep things in her heart. Thank you, Aunt Yulan, I'm going to take a look now. Jun Daodu said as he got out of bed, put on his shoes and told a few people, look after Huhu for me, I'll be back in a moment. You didn't say we could just let Huhu cry. Luo Xiaoxian rolled her eyes at her. Okay, go ahead, you're so wordy. After Jun Daodu disappeared, Chu Xia looked at Zhao Yulan in confusion. Mom, I see Aunt Lan is very happy all the time. How could she be sad during the full moon banquet? With a long sigh, Zhao Yulan said, I don't know the specific details, but I guess it has something to do with the fact that the child is a grandson. Does she want a granddaughter? The confusion on Chu Xia's face became even more serious. No matter what era, most elders seem to like boys, right? Lu Meijun looked at Chu Xia funny and explained first, I guess Aunt Yulan means that Aunt Lan is sad that the child's surname is not Jun. Zhao Yulan nodded, yes, that's what it means. Chu Xia had also covered herself up at this moment. She glanced at Luo Xiaoxian, who was lying on the bed with a smile, and pushed her dissatisfied, I haven't turned around all of a sudden. As for laughing like that, I didn't expect you to be so stupid sometimes. Luo Xiaoxian finally stopped laughing and said in a hoarse voice, you have always been ridiculously smart, but you occasionally make such a little fool. It's really cool cute. He looked at Zhao Yulan and said, Aunt Yulan, am I right? You kid. Zhao Yulan smiled helplessly, Xia didn't expect that. It's because her father and I have never been very involved in this kind of thing. However, the background of the Jun family is different from ours, so naturally our ideas are different. Yes, of course, this is just me being stupid, maybe it's not this kind of thing. If it is true, someone must have spoken something that irritated Aunt Lan. There are so many relatives and friends here today, and there are also many big shots. It is inevitable that some of them will say something mean to Aunt Lan. His personality is the least encouraging. Chu Xia couldn't help but sigh as she said that, why do some people insist on pouring some salt into other people's hearts when they are happy? After a while, Jun Daodu pulled Lan Alien in, and everyone's eyes turned to Lan Alien. Sure enough, she had drunk too much, her face was red, and her eyes became a little hazy. They all stared at her and laughed, don't look at me like that. I'm so old. What's so good about me? You still know that you are not young. Jun Daodu glared at her angrily, you drink yourself like this, and you are not afraid of others laughing at you? Mom, isn't she always the most honorable person? What happened today? Didn't you see your aunt-in-law? Aunt-in-law, Jun Daodu thought for a moment and looked at her mother in confusion, which aunt-in-law? Oh, yes, Mom is confused. Mom hasn't introduced you to her yet. Lan Alien said as she pulled her daughter out, let's go out now, and Mom will introduce you to her. Mom, Jun Daodu looked at Jun Qiuqiu, who was standing aside blankly, Qiuqiu, go and close the door. Yun Qiuqiu hurriedly closed the door and stabbed her to death from the inside. She was also frightened just now. In the impression, her mother was drunk like this only once. That time, it was after a big quarrel with her father. I drank like this, but today, why? Why are you closing the door? Lan Alien glared at her daughter, do you think Mom is a joke? Are you a loser? To be continued. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 1144. 3 updates. Mom, how could you lose my people? Since returning to Yun's house, Jun Daodu has never seen Lan Alien in the state, so she didn't dare to provoke her anymore, and said in a gentle voice, Mom, I'm afraid that people coming in will disturb our conversation. Anyway, there are trustworthy people here. If Mom has anything on her mind, just tell us, okay? Huh, Lan Alien raised her head and looked at each of them. Zhao Yulan stood up uncomfortably, you two have a chat, and I'll go out first. No need. Jun Daodu dragged Zhao Yulan away, Aunt Yulan, you don't have to avoid me. You and my mother are about the same age. You see some things further than we do, so you leave my mother to come up with ideas. Well, Yulan, please sit down. Lan Alien smiled at Zhao Yulan with bleary eyes, I just drank a little bit, not too much, I understand in my heart. Think about how I looked outside just now, look at me now, is it the same thing? Indeed, there was nothing unusual about Lan Alien except that she blushed horribly when she was outside. After entering this room, she must have let down her guard, and her overall mental state seemed a little relaxed. Actually, it's nothing. I'm just happy. Lan Alien continued to smile at everyone, there has to be a way to express happiness. Then, I drank a few more drinks, haha. Mom, did you drink a few too many drinks? Jun Daodu looked at her mother helplessly, this is the first time in my life that I have seen my mother drink like this. There were a lot of happy things in the past, why didn't you drink like this? Moreover, there is something wrong with you. I am your daughter. Do you need to hide it from me? I've seen it once before. He bit his lip. Jun Qiuqiu looked at Lan Alien with some anxiety, Mom, Dad didn't quarrel with you today, did he? What's the fight between your dad and me on this special day today? Lan Ai even rubbed her head, okay, I'll just tell you, it's not something that can't be said. Who doesn't have a young age? When Junfenchen and I met. He has a partner, Yu Aishan, and the conditions of the Yun family and the Yu family are similar. The elders of both families have also met, and the marriage is basically settled. Then suddenly, Yu Aishan broke up with Junfenchen, saying that they were not suitable for each other. Asked her what was inappropriate about it, she said it was because of their inappropriate personalities. This sounds like an excuse. Junfenchen has a very good personality and is very tolerant of others. If she can't get along with him, then she's really being very picky. Later, after asking around, Junfenchen found out that Yu Aishan broke up with him because of her brother Yu Aijun. Yu Aijun got into a fight with a co-worker in the factory and seriously injured him. The factory wanted to fire him. For the sake of Yu Aijun's future, the Yu family went to the co-worker's house to plead for mercy. The elders of the co-worker's family asked the Yu family to marry Yu Aishan into their own family. As long as Yu Aishan is married, the fight will be a private matter. Otherwise, what should I do? For the sake of their son, the family had no choice but to sacrifice their daughter. Yu Aishan was a filial person, so she had no choice but to break up with Junfenchen. After knowing this situation, Junfenchen went to find Yu Aishan, thinking of sharing the responsibility with her. However, he was also a pauper at that time, and the Qi family would not accept the money he could offer, so in the end, Yu Aishan still married into the Qi family. Even though Yu Aishan and I are friends, I still don't understand her choice, but at the same time, I'm a little happy in my heart. Lan Alien shook her head and smiled, yes, I was a little despicable. What I thought at that time was, I finally had the opportunity to be with Junfenchen. Therefore, it was me who took the initiative for us to be together. At first, Junfenchen rejected me. Later, he could no longer withstand the pressure from his family, so he agreed to be with me. He is a good man. Ever since he agreed to be with me, he has really treated me wholeheartedly. This is the fundamental reason why my dad supports him wholeheartedly. My dad said at the time that a dedicated and responsible man is trustworthy no matter what he does. Facts have proved that the old man was really right. Junfanshan can ignore all women, but he can't do it to Yuishan. Although Yuishan gave up on her own initiative, Yuishan is also pitiful, so he has been paying attention to her life, and whenever she needs help when the time comes, he will definitely be the first to lend a helping hand. Kyokuo said that she had seen me drink too much once, and that time it was also because of Yuishan. I am a woman, and of course I hope that my husband only has me in his heart. I don't want him to treat other women differently. But Jun Fengshan said that he couldn't help Yuishan without helping him at all while watching Yuishan suffer. He said that he only helped Yuishan because he regarded her as a relative in his heart. I actually understand what Jun Fengshan is doing, but as long as I see how different he is towards Yuishan, my heart feels like it's on fire, but I still pretend not to mind and continue to be friends with Yuishan. In fact, I only do this because I feel insecure and always hope to supervise them with my own eyes. If there is anything wrong between them, I can detect it immediately. Today, I didn't invite Yuishan, but she came unexpectedly. It was Yun Fengshan who called specifically to invite her. I know I should understand, but... She sighed and stopped talking. Women in marriage are all jealous. Lan Alien, for example, is not a particularly tolerant character, so it is not surprising that she would have such troubles. Therefore, after she finished speaking, the room fell into a long silence. Jun Daodu is digesting this matter. This is really the first time she has heard of it. Intellectually, she knows that no one is wrong about this matter, but emotionally, she still faces her mother. Others find out about such things all of a sudden and don't know how to persuade them. For emotional matters, it's impossible to say who is right and who is wrong, so persuasion requires even more skills. Yulan, have you ever encountered such a thing before? Lan Alien turned her gaze to Zhao Yulan. Yes, the other party nodded. Before me, Bao he also had a partner, because he was dissatisfied Bao he was poor, and the elders of the woman's family didn't agree, so they broke up. When we went to the capital, we met again, and she made some small moves, but in the end everything was resolved. When Zhao Yulan said that, Lan Alien's expression kept changing. Originally, she just asked casually, thinking that the two of them were not much different in age and should have the same views on this kind of thing. However, she did not expect that the other party also I have encountered such a thing. In an instant, she felt like she had found her soulmate. You can understand my mood, right? Lan Alien asked. The target of this question was very clear, and she was going straight to Zhao Yulan. After all, everyone else is a junior, so there is nothing rude about her doing this. Of course Zhao Yulan nodded. No one wants their husband to be as good to other women as he is to himself. Even if he treats other women not better than himself, but it's just a little different, we feel bad about it. In fact, men have the same requirements for us, so there is nothing wrong with us being like this. In marriage, the relationship between men and women should be like this, right? Yes, yes. Lan Alien nodded repeatedly. But, following Lan Alien's response, Zhao Yulan changed her tone and said, you really can't blame men for this matter. If they have bad character, maybe these women won't keep staring at them. Of course, I'm talking about the one before Bao He. She really wanted to help Bao He, but Bao He was soft-hearted, so she pushed even further. Sister-in-law, the name you mentioned is Yuishan, but unlike that woman, she is also pitiful. Brother Jun should be helping her out of sympathy. In fact, although we feel uncomfortable about this matter, if we think about it from another perspective, Brother Jun's behavior just shows that he has a kind heart. If he is such a hard-minded person, he may not be expecting others to have a bad life right now. Sister-in-law, do you think so? That's true. Lan Alien sighed, sometimes, I really hope that he will be more hard-hearted, but, think about it, if that is the case, he will not be who he is. I fell in love with him back then because I liked him. His character, hey, people are so contradictory and looking for trouble. I think my sister-in-law should talk to Brother Jun openly and honestly, and listen to his truest thoughts. Whether what the other person says is true or false, after living together for so many years, my sister-in-law should be able to tell, so why bother torturing each other like this? Okay, Lan Alien nodded, I listen to you, hey. She sighed, if I had known better, I wouldn't have drank so much. The guests haven't even left yet, so I disappeared first. This makes people sad. How should I put it, hey? Mom, I'm asking you something, and you have to answer me truthfully. Jun Daodu looked at Lan Alien seriously, Mom is unhappy. Is there anyone else besides aunt-in-law? Something else, Lan Alien looked at her daughter blankly, what are you referring to? Whose surname is Joe but not June, does this have something to do with it? Jun Daodu simply asked. This was their initial guess. Although the reason my mother was giving now was completely inconsistent with their guess, I still want to ask for clarification to avoid the situation happening again in the future. After being silent for a long time, Lan Alien nodded, a little bit. During the dinner, I heard someone whispering that the Yoon family was going to have no heirs. In my heart. Sighing, Lan Alien didn't say any more. Originally, she didn't agree with her daughter and Jo Han Liang being together. She just hoped to find someone with a good background for her daughter, or someone who was willing to marry her. However, in the end, neither of them succeeded. Got her wish. It was Mom who took the initiative to get together with Dad. Therefore, Mom always takes responsibility for herself. She feels that she is sorry for not giving birth to a son. After hesitating for a while, Jun Daodu looked at Lan Alien seriously, but Mom asked Dad if he really minded. To be continued. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 1145. One update arrived. Do you even need to ask? Lan Alien smiled bitterly, what man doesn't want his bloodline to continue forever? Even if the other person's answer is that he doesn't mind, how can he really believe it? Is it too arbitrary for Mom to say that? Or? Biting her lip, Jun Daodu looked at her mother with a disappointed look on her face, you are too concerned about this matter, in your heart, does Hikuakuo not matter at all? You kid, how can you think like this? Lan Alien looked at her daughter helplessly, don't you know if Mom doesn't care about you and Kuakuo? I don't know. Jun Daodu shook his head, I thought I knew it before, but what my mother said just now made me doubt my judgment. My mother used to say that women hold up half the sky, and that sons and daughters are all the same. But now, it is obvious that sons and daughters are completely different. Daodu, why do you have to be so picky about words? Lan Alien sighed helplessly, Mom means that for your father, it is very important to have a grandson with the same surname as him, whether he admits it or not. Admit it, this is all true. We live in this society and it is impossible to abandon the world. Our love for our daughters and sons is the same, but our requirements for our daughters and sons are definitely different. If mother asked Huhu to be named Yoon, would the Zhou family be willing? But if you are a son, we can confidently demand that Huhu must be named Yoon. This is the difference. Indeed, whether the surname is Jun or not is false. When he grows up, he will still be filial to us. However, many people will care about these fictitious things, and we cannot be immune to them. Mom, the one who really cares is you, not Dad. Sighed. Jun Daodu looked at Lan Alien seriously. You have made things complicated yourself. If you don't believe me, you can ask Dad. Daodu. You still don't understand men. Lan Alien smiled bitterly. If I asked your dad, he would definitely say that he doesn't mind, but I still said that. What I said? How can I take it seriously? Mom and Dad have lived together for so many years, but don't you even have this little trust in Dad? This is not a question of trust or distrust, it's... After a long pause, Lan Alien shook her head. Forget it, let's not discuss these meaningless things. Mom just hopes you can understand, no matter whether you have a son or not. Yun Kuakyo is the baby of Mom and Dad. But there is no legacy like grandson. It doesn't mean that we don't love our daughter. These are two different things. This issue ends here. Let's not argue, okay? Okay. Jun Daodu responded. What could she say? She knew Lan Alien's character very well. As long as she was determined about something, no one could change it for her, unless one day she really wanted to understand it. Moreover, after listening to what Lan Alien said, she also had doubts about her persistence. Indeed, all families, whether ordinary people or wealthy families, attach great importance to the inheritance of blood. Couples like Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe are really rare, but this does not mean that they do not want to have a son. From what I said before, if possible, the couple also hopes to have a son. Or, her requirements are really too high. How can she ask her parents not to mind such a thing at all? Moreover, what Mom said did make sense. Thinking of this, Jun Daodu looked at Lan Alien apologetically. Mom, I'm sorry, I shouldn't doubt your and Dad's feelings for me and Kuakyo. Silly boy. Lan Alien happily held her daughter in her arms. You can understand that my mother is very happy. Even if you can't understand, my mother will not blame you. If it hadn't been for drinking or meeting you, Aishan's mother wouldn't say this either. In fact, everyone understands some truths, but once you say it, it will hurt your heart and feelings. Actually, think about it, what is the use of saying it? Since life is arranged this way, it's better to just accept it calmly. Daodu, Mommy promises you that this is the last time. Mommy will never drink like this again, let alone feel sorry for herself because you and Kuakyo are girls. Whether your dad cares or not, it belongs to him. He has to accept his fate. Hey. Jun Daodu sighed with a smile. Anyway, in my mother's heart, she is still very shocked to have no son. That's what you said? Seongyedu, who doesn't mind this matter? If you don't believe me, you can try to discuss it with Johan Liang. Just say that whose surname is Jun, see how he responds to you. Lan Alien rolled her eyes at her daughter. If he can, I agreed. Mom, walk backwards for a mile. Mom, it's not that I don't dare to make this bet with you, it's just that I think it's impossible for you to walk a mile backwards, with your physique. Looking Lan Alien up and down, Jun Daodu shook his head and said no more. Hey, look at how confident you are. If you have the ability, you should really write a letter to Han Liang, saying that who is the son of my old Jun family. The next boy or girl will be named Jo. Look at him. What to answer? Don't worry, your mother, I am definitely not a cheating person. If you go backwards or I really can't do it, let's do this. I will change the bet. If you win, my mother will listen to whatever you say. Real. Of course it's true. Will everyone testify? Jun Daodu looked at the other people sitting and asked. Certainly. I will definitely testify fairly. I count 1. Me too. Early summer was the first to bear the brunt, followed closely by Luo Zioxian, Lu Meijun, and Zhang Erniu. Finally, Jun Daodu's eyes fell on Zhao Yulan, but Zhao Yulan had no choice but to express her position. I will also testify. What should I do? Yun Kuakyo raised her paw pitifully. Can I also testify? Of course Jun Daodu put his arm around her sister's shoulders. If mom doesn't abide by the rules, then Kyokuo and Daodu will seek justice from mom. Okay, Jun Kyokuo nodded happily, I'll listen to Daodu. Little traitor, Lan Alien scolded with a smile. She shook her head in amusement at her little daughter, look at how cool you are, okay. Mom hopes you win. It only takes a month. How about it? It's a deal. Jun Daodu raised an eyebrow. Mom, just wait for the day when our family becomes the master of the house. Lan Alien. It's too cool, isn't it? I still don't understand men. Dong dong. There was a gentle knock on the door, and Jun Kyokuo looked at her sister inquiringly. Go ahead and open the door. After receiving permission, Jun Kyokuo happily ran to the door. The atmosphere just now was too tense, and she didn't like it. Hello, Kyokuo, right? Jun Kyokuo looked at the woman standing in front of the door hesitantly, then looked back at Lan Alien. Aishin, come in. Lan Alien smiled and waved to the woman. I drank a little too much, so I came here to hide. Why did you come here? Is something wrong? Alien. You. Aishin smiled at her gently. I just saw that you drank a little too much, so I found out that you were here. Come and see, you couldn't drink before, why don't you pay attention now that you are old? What's up? I'm so happy. Lan Alien smiled, I have a grandson and become a grandma. I am really happy, so I can't help but want to drink more. At this time, wine is a medium to express excitement. I'm really sorry for making you worry. That's great. My Xiaoja is older than Daodu. He doesn't have a girlfriend yet, and you are now a grandma. Yu Aishin looked at Lan Alien with envy. Alien, you are really good. Fortunately, the person I envy the most in this life is you. Haha. After laughing twice, Lan Alien asked, where is Xiaoja? It's outside. Yu Aishin reached out and took Lan Alien's hand. I came here first because I was worried that you had drunk too much, and secondly because I wanted to say goodbye to you. Xiaoja was locked out, and he only found out about me from his neighbor. I found him right here, and I have to accompany him back. Aunt Yu's son's name is Chiji. Jun Daodu, who had been pinched many times by Chu Xia, finally came back to her senses and asked anxiously, is he back from the capital? Yes. Yu Aishin looked at Jun Daodu with surprise. Daodu know our Chiji? Jun Daodu nodded. If he is currently training at the medical university and is a doctor at our city a people's hospital, then he should be the Chiji I know. Chu Xia and Luo Xiaoxian looked at Lu Meijun at the same time. What a coincidence. As soon as they said they wanted to introduce Chiji and Lu Meijun, the other party came to their door. We're already here, why are you in a hurry to go back? After all, we can be considered friends. Let brother Xiaoja come in and sit down since this Kija is by Kija. Jun Daodu immediately made an enthusiastic invitation, completely forgetting about her mother. What was the reason for being sour just now? Her daughter had already said so. It would be rude if she didn't say anything else. Lan Alien also forced out a smile. Yes, I'm here now. At least I can meet you. I haven't seen my little girl in more than 10 years. It's awesome. I probably wouldn't even recognize him when I see him now. Then, after a slight hesitation, Yu Aishin nodded, I'll call him in. Look, what makes her happy is that she gave birth to a son. After Yu Aishin walked away, she muttered a curse, and Lan Alien looked at her daughter. Why did you ask him to come here? Yes. My mother and my aunt-in-law are love rivals. Why did she forget this just now? Looking at Lan Alien awkwardly, Jun Daodu sneered, if mom doesn't want to see him, just go to the hall first, okay. Why should I hide from him? Lan Alien frowned dissatisfied, if you want to hide, he will hide. Tell your mother why. Don't forget, you are a mother now, but you can't do anything that would make people laugh. To be continued. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 1146. Second update. Mom. June Dowdu looked helplessly at her mother who had overturned the jealousy vat. I am your daughter, can you tell me if I will do something that is scandalous? I dare not say that. Lan Alien rolled her eyes at her daughter and looked at Zhao Yulan. Children nowadays keep everything to themselves. We parents are not prone to guessing and worrying, are we? Haha. Zhao Yulan, who was dragged into the water for no reason, didn't know what to do except laugh. June Dowdu glared at her mother. Mom, don't make things difficult for Aunt Yulan. It's obviously your fault, and why? You have to involve someone. I know you don't like Aunt Yu, but I asked him to bring Chi-Ji here now. It's really not for no reason, and it's definitely not to please Aunt Yu. She's coming over now. For more details, I'll talk to you later. You say, okay. Lan Alien nodded reluctantly, agreeing to her daughter's request. No matter how unhappy she was, she couldn't let outsiders see her jokes. Although she has no son, she is married to a good husband, and that is enough. This Chi-Ji is really Chi-Ji. Seeing the man coming in with Yu Aishan, June Dowdu and Luo Xiaoxian both said hello quickly. Nearly 1.8 meters tall, with handsome features and clear eyes, he seemed to be a good man. After looking at the other person for a few times, Chu Xia realized that she really didn't know him, so he smiled at the other person and introduced himself. Upright arrow, www, hello, brother Chi, I am also a student of the medical university. I know a room full of women made Chi-Ji a little embarrassed. He blushed and said with a smile, you and Luo Xiaoxian Jun Dowdu are often together, I have seen them before. This is our good friend Lu Meijun. Luo Xiaoxian deliberately pulled Lu Meijun in front of her. Now she is a nurse at 401. We all practiced together in the past. Meijun is filial, so she stayed. Chi-Ji quickly greeted Lu Meijun, hello, I am Chi-Ji, a doctor from the first department of surgery, People's Hospital. Hello, I'm still a trainee nurse now. I can't compare with you. Lu Meijun answered the other party politely and also clearly explained her identity. Lan Alien and Yu Aishan were both experienced, and they looked at their postures. You are really a fool if you can't guess anything. No matter what their private evaluation of each other is, they are not willing to be light bulbs at this time. Dowdu. You guys talk to Chi-Ji. Your father-in-law and I will go out and take a look. The guests are all still here, it would be shameful for me not to show up, Lan Alien said as she pulled Yu Aishan out. Hesitate for a moment. Zhao Yulan also followed out. Although she was very familiar with several juniors, her staying here at this time would still make everyone uncomfortable. She should be more conscious. Ai Lian, thank you. He walked out the door. Yu Aishan first thanked Lan Alien and then apologized to Zhao Yulan. I'm really sorry that I had to come out with you. No matter how polite you are, you're just a mother. How can you not understand the thoughts of the younger generation? Zhao Yulan smiled and waved her hands. Besides, I've been here for a long time, so I should go back to my in-laws for a visit. You guys let's chat, I'm leaving first. Alien. When Zhao Yulan walked away, Yu Aishan looked at Lan Alien seriously, don't misunderstand Feng Shan. He has long lost any feelings for men and women towards me. He helped me, it just looks like I'm pitiful, and I made that choice back then, and it's all my fault that I'm in today. I can't blame anyone. I had hesitated for a long time to attend Huhu's full moon banquet this time. I felt that I shouldn't come. However, thinking about the help Feng Shan had given me over the years, I felt that it would be outrageous not to come. The way you drank that time made me regret my decision. Alien, Feng Shan only has you in his heart. He is such a responsible and dedicated man, so don't think too much about him. You misunderstood, I didn't think much about it. Lan Alien smiled faintly at Yu Aishan. I have lived with this man for more than 20 years, how can I not know his personality? I also admit that I have a common problem among women. I don't like the constant gossip between my husband and his previous lover. It's not that I don't believe him, but I just don't want to be the only one in his heart. I believe you can understand my thoughts, right? Just now, my daughter also criticized me, saying that I am too narrow-minded. After some reflection, I realized that my layout is indeed too small. We used to be best friends, how could we really become enemies because of a man? Right? Hey. Yu Aishan sighed faintly and smiled bitterly. Actually, I can understand your thoughts, and I have always blamed myself for being spineless. Why do you always accept Junfanshan's help when I know you hate me? However, in the face of being raped again, one's integrity will really lose to reality. Without his help, Xiaja would not have been able to enter the people's hospital back then. Even if he did later, Xiaja would have been squeezed out of the hospital without his help. Xiaja's father, you know, even if I don't tell you, is a selfish person to the core. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such a request back then. In his eyes, I am the tool for their family to carry on the family line. What he needs is a woman, and that woman can be anyone, and that woman must obey their arrangements in everything. I resented it when I first got married, but in the end, I had no choice but to compromise. Even if I could run away, where was Xiaja? And where are my parents? You may think I'm stupid. Even though my parents sold me for my brother, I still treat them with all my heart, but what can I do? Moreover, they also regretted it later. Unfortunately, not everything in this world can be regretted. They are already married and have children, so what can they do if they regret it? Therefore, all my hopes now lie in Xiaja. As long as he can meet a good fate and have a warm family, I will be content in this life. Alien, I am telling you this just to let you understand that I will never have any thoughts about your family, let alone do anything to destroy your family. The purpose of accepting Junfanshan's help is to prevent the Chi family from bullying me too much. When Xiaja gets married in the future, they will not dare to go too far. In the past, the Chi family also said unpleasant things because of Junfanshan's help, but later, after knowing what Junfanshan's position meant, they really didn't dare to say anything. I'm sorry that I accepted your family's help so shamelessly, but since I am dedicated to my son, forgive me, okay? Fool. Lan Alien hugged her gently. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You are such a fool. It's not worth it for you to suffer so much injustice? Just one sentence, Yu Aishan smiled bitterly. It's not that I haven't thought about explaining it to you, but every time the words come to my mouth, I don't know how to say it. Today, if I hadn't seen you making such a fool of yourself, or seeing Daodu helping Chi-Ji so much, son, I won't say that either. Hey, that's how it is with people, you always have to go through something before you have the courage to do something. The person Daodu introduced to Chi-Ji should be Mei-jun, who is a very smart and sensible child. However, they only have one daughter like her. If it happens, Chi-Ji must be responsible for the Yu family. If you don't have any objection, you can let them give it a try. If you can't accept it, it's better to say hello to Chi-Ji earlier to avoid the children getting into trouble in the future. Now that all the knots in her heart were cleared, Lan Alien told Yu Aishan what she knew frankly. I'm not that old-fashioned. If the woman's family is willing to accept Chi-Ji, I don't mind letting Chi-Ji live with the woman's family. Sighing, Yu Aishan spread her hands. Listen to me, you will understand that I have had Chi-Ji in these years. How difficult has it been to be there? You won't hate me anymore in the future, right? Originally I don't hate you, it's just. After a pause, Lan Alien smiled sheepishly. You can just treat yourself as an unconfident person who keeps showing off your temper. Why are you not confident? Yu Aishan shook her head. I envied you back then. You have a good family background, good looks, and your parents are so reasonable. I have never dreamed of having such conditions as you. We have been delayed for so many years. From now on, we will cherish it. Lan Alien looked at Yuishin seriously. If you need any help, just ask me and I will do my best to help you. Yuishin nodded. Okay, I won't be polite to you. The years of conflict were resolved, and the friendship between the two returned to its original state. The next day, Chi-ji returned to the capital with Chu-xia and others. This time he came back because the hospital had something urgent to ask him. After the matter was done, he still had to go back to study. To put it bluntly, this kind of study is to prepare for the next step of promotion. In other words, when he returns from his studies, Chi-ji will be a proper chief physician. The 25-year-old chief physician is still very impressive. Brother Chi, do you know why I came to see you yesterday? Jun Daodu asked directly on the way. I know. Chi-ji nodded. Lu Meijun is a good girl. If she is willing, I really hope that we can see each other. However, you'd better tell her the actual situation of my family to avoid deep feelings. After that, don't worry about this kind of thing again. Do you still need to say it? Jun Daodu rolled her eyes. Although your aunt didn't explicitly talk about your family's affairs yesterday, the meaning was already obvious. Meijun is not stupid, how could she not be clear about it? Then, after hesitating, Chi-ji looked at Jun Daodu with some anxiety. Did she tell me her impression of me? You guess. Chi-ji. If he could guess it, would there be any need to ask? Could he tell them that he stayed up half the night thinking about this? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 1147. First update. Has Dr. Chi ever had a girlfriend before? Chu-xia suddenly asked such a question. Chi-ji's face immediately turned red, and he didn't say a word for a long time. Is it so difficult to talk about it? Chu-xia looked at him in confusion. I don't have any other intention in asking this question. I just hope that when a relationship begins, two people can have a basic understanding. Of course, don't think that I'm just meddling because I'm full. Meijun asked me to ask about this. Even if Dr. Chi had a girlfriend before, she wouldn't mind as long as they split up smoothly. The reason why I ask is because I don't want her to be kept in the dark one day when her ex-girlfriend keeps causing trouble. After a pause, Chu-xia smiled sheepishly. Dr. Chi, don't blame Meijun for overthinking it. It's because the few of us have seen enough of the ex-girlfriend's torment. No, Chi-ji waved his hands repeatedly. You misunderstood, it's not inconvenient for me to answer. As he said that, his face turned red again, even with a hint of shyness. I haven't officially. We've talked about it, and my colleagues laughed at me a lot because of this, haha. The following sentence directly explained the reason for his strange behavior just now. My lover felt that it was a bit embarrassing that we hadn't talked about it. With Chi-ji's conditions, how could it be possible that they hadn't talked about it all this time? Therefore, Chu-xia continued to ask, is it because I haven't met the right one yet, or I haven't caught my eye? Hey, she didn't want to be like this, but it was a matter of loyalty to someone who was entrusted by someone. She has to fulfill her responsibilities. My personality is a bit introverted. After a moment of hesitation, Chi-ji raised his head and looked at Chu-xia calmly. I should have missed it myself. My reaction in this regard was too slow. Basically, by the time I reacted, the owner of the house had already changed. Oh. Chu-xia responded repeatedly, indicating that she understood. She could indeed understand what he said, and she had reached this point at the age of 25. How could it be possible if we were not too focused on our profession? In this way, Lu Meijun can be regarded as a treasure. Meijun asked me to tell you. She has been with several people, but the time with each one was not long. Some of them were because of inappropriate personality, some of them were interfered with. Some of them were concerned that she was an only child. The burden in the future it was relatively heavy, so I gave up. Originally, Meijun should have told you this personally, but firstly, because the time you spent together was relatively short, and secondly, she really didn't have the chance to tell you, so she left it to me. If you think that I am a friend of Meijun, my words may be biased, you can also ask Sister Yuan Hui. You and Sister Yuan Hui used to be colleagues. You should know what kind of character she is. Don't bother me, I believe you. Chi-ji smiled with a red face. Although I'm a little dull, I'm not stupid. I can still read people. You don't mind at all having to bear the responsibility for the pension of both parents in the future, Luo Xiaoxian asked Chi-ji closely. I don't mind, Chi-ji said with a serious face, no matter whether Meijun is an only daughter or not, we must be filial to our elders. This is the responsibility and obligation of the younger generation. She has talked about it before, don't you mind? Luo Xiaoxian asked again. I don't mind, that happened in the past, and I have no right to mind, but... Chi-ji smiled shyly, if we establish a relationship now, she can no longer have thoughts about other boys. Luo Xiaoxian nodded repeatedly, that's for sure. Although I am not her, I can definitely vouch for it. In fact, Meijun is a very traditional person. The things we talked about before are not talks at all in a strict sense. Some are introduced by elders in the family, some are olive branches extended by work partners, and some simply approach Meijun with a purpose in mind, and it seems that they really get along because of their relationship. It seems that they are really hard to find. However, there is one thing that Meijun does very well, that is, she is absolutely decisive and never sloppy, so you don't have to worry about an ex-boyfriend popping up in the future who will continue to steal her from you. Yes, Chi-ji nodded seriously and promised, I will absolutely believe her. Even if my ex-boyfriend says something, I will still base it on what Meijun said. In this way, I still believe her. Please help convey it. No problem, Luo Xiaoxian slapped Chi-ji cheerfully, I'm sure you will like your charming personality, and you two will definitely get along very well. Thank you for your good words. Don't be so polite, you should. Luo Xiaoxian laughed while poking Chu Xia's arm. Her face almost turned sour when she smiled, and she really didn't know what to say next. Does Dr. Chi have Meijun's address? Chu Xia took up the topic again. Yes, I specifically asked about it. Chi-ji's face turned red again. I originally wanted to ask her for it in person, but I was afraid that she would be embarrassed, so, I asked an acquaintance to ask. Who is the acquaintance you are looking for? Chu Xia asked curiously. Director Zheng. Jing Zhe. Yet Chi-ji scratched his head in embarrassment, Director Jing took me with him. Oh. Chu Xia looked stunned, so, we are still related. Jing Zhe's grandfather is my god-grandfather, so he is my god-brother. I heard from Director Zheng. He said you are very smart and asked me to learn from you. Really or not? Chu Xia looked at Chi-ji in disbelief. Why do I think there is something wrong with what you said? What can you learn from me? It's your personality. He said that your personality is very flexible, which I need to learn very much. Chi-ji scratched his head again. If you have been with me for a long time, you will find out that I can be very tricky sometimes. Of course, it's limited to business matters. I definitely won't do it emotionally, so you can rest assured. Chu Xia interrupted him with a smile. What am I worried about? I should let Meijun feel at ease, right? Hey, he. Jun Daodu, who had been silent all this time, couldn't stand it any longer. She glared at Chu Xia and then turned to Chi-ji. Brother Gzi, you don't have to pay attention to her. I'll put in a good word for you over there with Mei Jun, don't worry. Chu Xia smiled mischievously, I'll learn this from Mei Jun. Yes, Luo Xiaoxian quickly agreed, I will also testify. You. Jun Daodu shook his head helplessly, I really lost to you. Okay, can we stop making things difficult for honest people? This is unkind. It's okay. Chi Ji smiled and waved his hands, they are not bullying me, they only see that I am uncomfortable, so they deliberately liven up the atmosphere, and they are all for the good of me and Mei Jun, I am not so petty. Okay, you don't mind. What else can I say? By the way, brother Josei, I heard that Uncle Chi often bullies Aunt Yu, and the Chi family doesn't respect Aunt Yu enough. If he waits for Mei Jun to marry, will he not be able to? Too easy to do? Jun Daodu looked at Chi Ji with a worried look on her face and asked. She also knew that her question was inappropriate, but in comparison, Lu Mei Jun held a more important position in her heart. When she thought of it, of course she had to ask for him. Just ask. Don't worry, they won't have the chance to bully Mei Jun. Sighing, Chi Ji looked at the few people frankly, my mother really suffered a lot after marrying my father. I used to be so focused on everything. In terms of study, I care less about my mother, and I won't care about it anymore. When I come back, I will be eligible for my own house. At that time, I will take my mother over to live with her. Of course, the premise is that my mother is willing. You don't have to worry about the difficult relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. My mother has a very gentle personality. I have never seen her make a loud noise with anyone in my life. Mei Jun is also a reasonable person. When they live together, they will definitely get along like mother and daughter, maybe even better than mother and daughter. I believe they get along like mother and daughter, but I don't believe they get closer than mother and daughter. After all, my daughter and mother have lived together for more than 20 years, and each is an indispensable part of each other's life. Mother-in-law and daughter-in-law are different. Without the man they care about together, the two of them may not be even the most basic friends, let alone relatives. Xiaoxian, I think you and your aunt are getting along well, but from your tone, it seems there are still many irreconcilable conflicts. Chu Xia looked at Luo Xiaoxian seriously, do you want my help? No, 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 Luo Xiaoxian waved her hands repeatedly, I have no objection to my mother-in-law. I just expressed my feelings honestly. Although you are my mother-in-law's niece, I still have to say that I can never treat her as I do to her. My mother is so careless, there is nothing we can do about it, this is nature. You are overthinking. My aunt has probably never thought that you would treat her the way Sister Kiwi treats her. Chu Xia looked at Luo Xiaoxian amusedly, we have been friends for many years, you don't need to come with me. Are these false? Do you think I will go to my aunt to sue you? No, Luo Xiaoxian smiled sheepishly, I say this in front of you because I am afraid you will misunderstand. I am quite content to have such a good mother-in-law, but in my heart, she is just like my mother. It's really impossible, and I feel quite guilty, so I explained a little more. She turned to look at Chi Ji, now do you understand why we explained so much to you? I'm just worried that you will misunderstand the beauty in the future. June, this kind of feeling is really not something you can just do whatever you want, just like how you treat your father-in-law and mother-in-law, the same principle applies. Jun Daodu pouted, your metaphor is inappropriate, because he is different from you. As for his father, how much affection do you think he will have? Therefore, I think his relationship with his father-in-law and mother-in-law will be better than that with his father in the future. The relationship is good, basically absolute. To be continued. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 1148. Second update. I definitely treat my father-in-law better than my father. After emphasizing this sentence, Chi Ji quickly explained, it's not that I am heartless and unfilial. In my life, I have never seen my father treat my mother and me sincerely. In his eyes, my mother was the one he married to wash, cook, bear, and take care of the children, and I was the insurance for him when he got old. Since I was born, my mother has been raising me alone. My mother's salary is used to support the family's living expenses and pay my tuition. My father's salary is only responsible for his own food, drink, and fun. After I entered junior high school, my appetite increased compared to when I was younger. My mother's salary was simply not enough to support the family. My mother wanted to beg my father to pay some living expenses every month. As a result, my father beat my mother. I stayed in bed for 2 days. From that time on, I swore that I would make a difference so that my mother could live a good life, not let my father bully her, and not let my grandparents look down on her. After that time, my mother told me that in order for me to continue studying and to prevent my father from bullying us too much, she decided to accept help from an old friend. However, the old classmate was a man. If others said bad things, she would let me not listen. For me at the time, I still couldn't figure out how this matter had anything to do with our lives. I only knew that my mother had loved me since I was a child, so I would unconditionally support whatever my mother said. The old friend my mother was talking about was Uncle June. Mom www. Specially invited him to our house. I still remember that day. Uncle June was wearing a straight military uniform. As soon as we stopped at our house, my dad got scared. Since then, our family's life has finally become more peaceful. Although my father couldn't stop quarreling with my mother, he never dared to do it again because Uncle June said when he left that my mother was his sister. If my father bullied my mother, he would not spare my father. My dad is most afraid of people wearing military uniforms, especially since Uncle June is taller and stronger than my dad. He is really afraid of Uncle June. Of course, my dad still quarreled with my mom, always scolding her for not keeping her responsibilities. As for why he didn't abide by the law, I didn't dare to say it. At first, I didn't understand what my dad meant when he scolded me. It gradually became clear. Uncle John's official position grew bigger and bigger. My father's attitude towards my mother became softer and softer. For a while, I also strongly disapproved of my mother's actions, and even complained in my heart that my mother was embarrassed. However, now I truly understand how much my mother has paid for me. She is a very kind and face-loving person, but she did it for me. But she did what she least wanted to do. So, in this life, even if I try my best, I can't fully repay my mother's kindness to me. If Mei-jun wishes not to live with her mother-in-law after getting married, probably impossible. I like Mei-jun sincerely, but before it starts, I hope you will tell her my only request, and I can listen to her for everything else. He said so much for no reason, and he was clearly trying to explain why Yu Aishan asked Jun Fengshan to help. To put it bluntly, these words were basically meant for Jun Daodu. Jun Daodu originally didn't agree with her father helping Yu Aishan. Indeed, Yu Aishan's experience was quite sympathetic, but she didn't like her cowardice. If it were her, she would definitely run away from the family who plotted against her with her loved ones as soon as possible. However, in different eras and different personalities, there is really no way to say who is right and who is wrong. Now, listening to Chi-ji calmly telling Yu Aishan's motives, Jun Daodu had another worry. Chi-ji, if your mother and Mei-jun have a conflict, who will you favor? Don't say who is right. There is no right or wrong in the conflict between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, so there is no hypothesis, you just need to tell me who you are facing. This question is a bit overbearing. Chi-ji smiled bitterly, you are really making things difficult for me for no reason. How do you ask me to answer? If I say that I am towards my mother, you will think that I do not pay enough attention to Mei-jun. If I say that I am towards Mei-jun, you will think, You think I'm unfilial to my mother after marrying a daughter-in-law, so this is simply an unsolvable problem. It's not difficult for me, okay? No, Jun Daodu looked at him seriously. I'm definitely not trying to make things difficult for you. I'm asking this question very seriously. I hope you can give me a satisfactory answer. Chu Xia and Luo Xiaoxian also looked at Qi Ji, waiting for his answer. Why did Daodu ask this question? They know very well that if a man who has such a deep relationship with his mother asks his wife to give in to his mother in everything, he will not be able to live a good life. No matter how reasonable the mother is, if she touches the spoon in the same pot, there will inevitably be bumps and bumps. If she always lets the daughter-in-law give way, it will definitely explode after a long time, and if this goes on for a long time, the relationship between the couple will be exhausted. After thinking seriously for a while, Qi Ji looked at the others. Actually, I understand why you care about this answer. Don't worry, although I feel sorry for my mother, I am definitely not unprincipled. If my wife and my mother really have a conflict in the future, then I will definitely try my best to ask my daughter-in-law to give in to my mother in front of them and return to our little world. I will apologize to my daughter-in-law again. Whatever you say, I will obey it unconditionally. This answer is quite satisfactory, and it can be seen from it that Qi Ji's sincerity is definitely not made up just to fool a few people. Okay, I have no problem here. What about you? Jun Daodu looked at Chu Xia and Luo Xiaoxian. The elders gave us space, so don't waste it. Knowing the thoughts of several people, the elders took the children to sit on the medium-sized buns. The three of them and Qi Ji stayed alone on the cross-country road. That's why Jun Daodu said this. What you said, people who don't know think we are nosy. Chu Xia rolled her eyes helplessly at Jun Daodu and looked at Qi Ji. We are just entrusted by others and are loyal to others. I hope Brother Qi never mind. Qi Ji waved his hands repeatedly. I don't mind, I don't mind. Why would I mind? It's my honor that you can give me such an opportunity. I'm very happy that we have this opportunity to talk about something so that we don't become irreconcilable in the future contradiction. So far, I have asked everything I can and cannot ask, what I should and should not ask, and there really is nothing more to ask. The few of them changed the topic and talked about some interesting things about school. Obviously, Qi Ji also became more relaxed. He had been away from school for several years, and now he had the opportunity to come back. He liked reliving the days of student life, and he was a little eloquent when talking about it. This confirmed Chu Xia again. In one sentence, the so-called introvert and extrovert talk less and talk more is not absolute. With the right environment and the right soil, iron trees can still bloom. After returning to the capital, the three of them immediately called Lu Meijun and gave a detailed report on the results of the journey, accompanied by the high and low sounds of several children. Lu Meijun on the other end of the phone sounded envious. Can she also be with them and enjoy such a lively life? The relationship between Qi Ji and Lu Meijun started like this. They wrote letters for 3 or 2 days. Occasionally, Qi Ji would come to Lin's house to call Lu Meijun. Therefore, although the two did not meet, their relationship warmed up rapidly. Lu Lianbao's injured leg had fully recovered and he returned to the division. Therefore, in addition to Qi Ji, who went to Lin's house every day to keep in touch, Zhao Qiwei was added. Time moved forward so steadily, and at the centenary banquet of Dragon, Tiger, and Tiger, Division A still had not returned. Moreover, not only did they not return, but another division was sent over. Chu Xia and Zhou Mikang kept in touch with each other on the phone, and she knew from the other end of the phone that the situation was getting more and more tense, and for the time being, it was impossible for them to return. This is not something that can be changed manually. I don't want the person on the other end of the phone to worry about me, so Chu Xia suppressed her disappointment and comforted Mr. Zhou. Don't worry, the children and I are fine. Mom, grandma and sister-in-law are all here too. Bien, Not to mention my parents, they stay with me and prepare delicious food for me every day. As long as you take care of yourself, that's enough. Do you miss me? Teacher Tong's voice was filled with obvious expectation. Of course Chusia didn't tease him and answered seriously, of course I miss you and hope you will come back sooner. However, you are a soldier and I can't do such willful things. So, after you come back, be twice as kind to me. Of course there is no problem. After a pause, the division commander Tongza said, Xia, there is something I want to tell you. Yamiru is here and is in the medical team now. Don't think too much about it. I'm telling you, I don't want you to know your random thoughts from other people's mouths. She is different now from before. Although she came to the teacher, she never came to me and had no contact with me except during normal work. Also, Zohai, who followed her closely, also came out with her and is now on the medical team. The two of them are basically inseparable. You and Zojang will also talk to you later to reassure their family members. Chu Xia was still extremely surprised by this news. Under such conditions, Yamiru could actually walk out. How did she get to the medical team? Chu Xia asked. Didn't it mean that she has been expelled from the military and can no longer serve as a soldier? If you can get out of there, some of the punishments can be withdrawn. Of course, Yamiru can come to the front line not only because she got out, but also because she saved an important person. The condition proposed to the other party was to become a member of the frontline medical team, which was not a big deal, so the other party agreed. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 1149. 1 Update. Just love surfing the internet. Yamiru saved Minister Li. Luo Xiaoxian looked at Chu Xia in disbelief. Did she really save Minister Li Lulin from the United Front Work Department? That's right. Chu Xia nodded. You have repeated this question 3 times. Do you think I will lie to you about this kind of thing? Besides, what good will it do me to lie to you? I just can't believe it. How can such a rotten person be so lucky? Why is his ghost still lingering? Sighing, Luo Xiaoxian looked at Chu Xia worriedly. Master now feels that she and things were different before. If she continues to play like this, what if the teacher falls into her trap one day? As shameless as she is, she can do anything. No, she can't be left alone like this. In Chuxia, call the teacher and tell him that you don't accept them working together and ask him to take Yamei away. If transferred. If he can transfer her away, does he still need to tell me? Chu Xia spread her hands. Besides, there is no use passively evading some things. If she really wants to break up Zhou Mikang and me, even if she is transferred away this time, she will still find an opportunity to get together next time. If we wronged her, it would be even more meaningless to go through all this trouble, so let's leave it like this for now. I tell you this because I don't want you to get angry when others tell you the news. We have to believe Zhou Mikang. He is always decisive at work and never drags his feet emotionally. Otherwise, Yamiru would have got what he wanted long ago, right? Although this is true, I still don't feel at ease. He sighed. Luo Xiaoxian looked troubled. Others envy you for climbing a high branch, but they don't know how many rotten flies have been attracted to that high branch. You can't drive them away and you can't kill them. It's really annoying. Chu Xia shook her head in a funny way. It's not as serious as you said. In fact, what I'm most happy about is that Zhou Mikang never hides this kind of thing from me. Since he trusts me, of course I have to trust him too. What if? After a brief pause, she continued, what if he misjudges Yamiru? There is nothing to worry about. I believe in his self-control. He will definitely not do anything sorry to me. Okay, if you think so, then I won't worry about it. Even so, Luo Xiaoxian's face still didn't look good. In fact, everything Yamiru did in the past was too refreshing for her. Got it? However, June Doudou was more open-minded than her, and now she smiled and comforted, looking at your face, it's almost embarrassing. What do you mean you're not worried? Are you sincerely making Chusia upset? Fortunately you are not a party involved. Otherwise, the other half will be pissed off by you. Think about Mr. Joe's feelings for Chusia, and then think about the time he and Chusia have known each other. How many things have you done for early summer? Okay, even if you don't think about these things, then think about it. How many people in the country can you find who has reached today's level before he was 30 years old? He is not a technical person. As a leader, if he has no brain and weak analytical and logical skills, is it possible to achieve such achievements at this age? Yamiru was too young to fool the teacher. The teacher believes in her now because her performance is trustworthy. If she is faking it, see how long she can keep it up. As long as the tip of her tail is exposed, the teacher will be able to grasp her true form. If you don't believe it, just look at it. What I say is definitely not an exaggeration. It sounds like you know the teacher better than Chusia. Luo Xiaoxian rolled his eyes at her. Fortunately I know that you always pretended to be Director Joe, otherwise, you would have really misunderstood. You. June Doudou pushed her. Zhou Hanliang has been with Mr. Master for so many years, and his understanding of Mr. Master is definitely deeper than anyone else. As his pillow, what do you think about these things? Will he not tell me? Tisk, tisk. Luo Xiaoxian looked at her funny. To be honest, have you two become real bedfellows a long time ago? Otherwise, how would the instructor have the time to talk to you about these things? You don't understand this, right? June Doudou sighed and looked at Chusia with a troubled face. Can I tell you that when Zhou Hanliang and I were together at the beginning, I suffered countless jealousies from Mr. Master? Every time the two of us were together, he kept talking about various stories about Sir. At the beginning, I was quite interested, but as the times increased, I felt uncomfortable. Should he talk to me about someone or not? Are you talking to the teacher about someone? It's not that I doubt that Zhou Hanliang and Mr. Joe have something shady, I just think that it's normal for Mr. Joe to be more important than me in his heart. However, at any rate, when we are together, let me feel my own. Is it important? For this reason, we had several conflicts. Zhou Hanliang explained to me helplessly that he had been with Commander Zhou since he was a soldier, and he was always in the army. His life circle was with the commander. Inseparable, if he has to avoid the teacher, it seems that he will have to be mute. Thinking about what he said made sense, I adjusted my mentality. Don't tell me, people are really weird. After thinking about it, when I heard him talk about the army, I felt particularly cordial. So really speaking, I may know more about Mr. Teacher than I do in Chusia. I believe this. Chusia nodded. I understand Zhou Mikang's character, but I really don't know about his previous life. You also know that there were too many unsatisfactory things in his previous life, so, when I get along with him, I basically avoid previous topics deliberately. But sometimes he would tell me some past things, but after all, men are not as emotional as women, so what I know is limited. Doudou, when you have nothing to do in the future, you can tell me all the big and small things you remember about Zhou Mikang. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle. I'm not trying to compete with him, but only if you know more about him. Better to get along with each other, right? Luo Xiaoxian couldn't help but roll her eyes. The children will be gone, and they are still here thinking about how to get along better, haha. What's so contradictory about this? Chusia glared at her. You too, you can't think it doesn't matter just because you are married to my brother. Marriage also needs to be managed, do you understand? I don't understand. Luo Xiaoxian picked up Long Long, who was lying there grinning at her. My son is so old and he hasn't even shown his face. Even if I want to run a business, I still have to be visible to people. When she said this, June Doudou also sighed. She just gave birth alone. She was a full moon and 100 years old, and the father of the child was not able to witness it. To say that she was unshakable would be a lie. In early summer, when Nan Nan and Bai Bai were born, your parents hadn't left yet. You couldn't understand our feelings. After sighing again, Jun Daodu patted his head. Forget it, let's not think about it anymore. Anyway, thinking about it is in vain. Your teacher is fine, he can chat with you for a long time every time he calls, but ours is better. He picks up the phone and anxiously asks how his son is doing. When I finish talking, he just says, I got it. Hang up the phone hastily. Yesterday I couldn't bear it any longer, so I blamed him for not being able to learn from the teacher and talk to me more. The result was good, but he said I understand again and gave up. At night, when no one was around, he secretly called me and explained that when he called me during the day, everyone took turns, and he was embarrassed if someone else was around. I asked him, was there no one when the teacher called? He said that when the teacher called, a group of people gathered around him, but the teacher didn't mind. He said that he is not as thick-skinned as the teacher, so he can only follow the crowd and be more indifferent to me. At this point, Jun Daodu smiled at Chu Xia. You are now a celebrity in the teacher, haha. The way you laugh is quite scary. Chu Xia shrank her neck unconsciously. Just based on your laughter, I don't expect my reputation in Division A. It's quite clear. Jun Daodu smiled. My comrades privately say that Mr. Master is tightly controlled by his wife. He is an absolute strict wife. A strict wife is a strict wife. He doesn't mind it himself, so why should I mind? Chu Xia curled her lips. I thought I was talking about something, but this sentence has no lethality at all to me. Dong dong dong. Come in. Everyone was in Chu Xia's room, so the one who answered was naturally Chu Xia. Sister, it's me, is it convenient? It was Lin Chuchun who spoke. After looking at the clothes of several people, Chu Xia said, it's convenient, come in. After walking in, Lin Chuchun smiled at a few people with an embarrassed look on his face. If it weren't for something urgent, I wouldn't disturb your conversation. I'm sorry, sisters, please don't be angry with me. I'll finish, just get out right away. Where did you get to be so wordy? Luo Xiaoxian glared at him. If you have anything to say, tell me. Yes. Lin Chuchun glanced at Chu Xia quietly and said, I want to go back. Huh? Chu Xia looked at him doubtfully. There's still half a month before the exam. Why are you in such a hurry to go back? Is there something going on at Chuchiu or at Big Brother's place? It's Chukiu. After sighing, Lin Chuchun smiled bitterly. Chani's child is gone, and Chukiu's mood is quite unstable. I want to go back and have a look to understand him. Why not? Several people asked almost in unison. When I went to work in early autumn, Chani went to the vegetable market to buy vegetables. She slipped and fell. Lin Chuchun sighed. My eldest brother told me that the house was in a mess. To be continued. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 1150. Second update. Go online if you like. What do you mean? Luo Xiaoxian sensitively captured the contradiction in Chuchun's words. Chani fell while going to the market to buy vegetables. Why is the house in such a mess? She met the aunt at the vegetable market. After sighing, Lin Chuchun continued. The aunt grabbed Chani and asked her brother how much he earned in a month. You pushed me, and something happened. Are you okay with your eldest brother's brain? Chu Xia was speechless. How does Chani know how much the eldest brother is? She married Chu Chiu, not the eldest brother. The eldest brother went to Chu Chiu's place to see Chu Chiu and Chun Ni, and bought them a lot of supplements. Somehow, the news reached the ears of the aunt, and then she went to find them. You won't be able to solve anything if you go back. Luo Xiaoxian frowned and looked at Lin Chuchun. Going back to such a hassle will definitely affect your performance during the exam. I think you might as well go back after the exam. Lin Chuchun smiled bitterly. I also understand that after all this trouble when I go back, whether I can take the exam is a question. However, if I don't go back, I won't be able to pass the test in my heart, and I won't be in the mood to review, and I will still not perform well when the exam comes. I can't tell, but you are kind. Luo Xiaoxian glanced at her, and she didn't know what to say. Anyway, she still didn't approve of Lin Chuchun's actions. In her opinion, it was the most foolish thing to give up her future for a younger brother who had not been close to her since childhood. Anyway, she didn't like this approach. Okay, I'll arrange for someone to buy a ticket for you. Chu Xia knew Lin Chuchun better than Luo Xiaoxian. She knew that since he came to explain the situation, he was determined to go back. They were twin brothers. Regardless of whether she agrees or not, she is not qualified to make irresponsible remarks. The only thing she can do is to try to make the other party worry less. To be honest, she was not optimistic about Lin Chuchun's decision this time. Although Lin Chuqiu has changed a lot compared to before. But it's hard to change what's deep in a person's bones, and he might even take his anger out on Lin Chuchun. I don't want to influence your decision, but I still want to give you a few words. After hesitation, Chu Xia decided to do his best to give the other party a warning. You know Chuchun's feelings for Chun and I. Now the child it's gone, and it's gone because of the eldest uncle. The elders of Chun's family will definitely hold on to it. In order to show how much she values the Li family, Chu Qiu will probably try her best to seek justice for Chun and I. At this time, you might come to your door again, or he might stop you from taking the college entrance examination. I'm not a villain, you two grew up together, but among your elders, you have always preferred early autumn. This makes him accustomed to getting, and also accustomed to you being inferior to him. Now, at the lowest point in his life, you have to take a step forward with all your strength. I can't tell you how he feels. But I'm sure that he will never be the type of person who happily waits for you to go to high school. I know. Facing Chu Xia, Lin Chuchun showed a sincere smile. Sister is really doing her best for me. I know that I want to go back. I just want to fulfill my responsibilities and obligations as a brother. If my younger brother doesn't regard me as his older brother and only has jealousy and complaints in his heart, then I won't ruin my life just to cater to him. Don't worry, sister, I will definitely take part in this exam. Okay, I feel relieved with your words. Chu Xia turned around and walked out. I will make arrangements for you now. You just need to pack up your books and take them with you, and bring 2 changes of clothes. After the exam, you should go back here. With the situation at your home, you can't stay at home even if you want. If possible, you can consider bringing Xuan'er and Mao Mao to live here for a while. Okay, I'll listen to my sister this time. Lin Chuchun didn't hold back and obeyed Chu Xia's arrangement. Early the next morning, Lin Chuchun boarded the train back to Yunshui County. As expected by Chu Xia, after meeting Chu Qiu, the other party hugged Chuchun and cried, then began to complain about his dissatisfaction, and finally made his own request, hoping that Chuchun would stay and tide over the difficulties with him. After Chuchun said that he would try his best to help, Lin Chuqiu made his first request, asking Chuchun to work odd jobs in the factory to supplement the family income. Looking at his brother who was taking it for granted, Lin Chuchun felt a chill in his heart. He thought that after all, they were twins. After all, Lin Chuqiu was different from before. In fact, everything had never been the same. Change. Lin Chuqiu's difference only showed up when he was dealing with Chunni. He was too stupid to think that the other party was really sensible and that the twins could have a tacit understanding. The place at home is such a small one, and Chun Nier's health is inconvenient. After a pause, Lin Chukia looked at Lin Chuchun apologetically. Brother, I have already applied for a good dormitory for you in the factory and cleaned it. The quilts and mattresses are all new. I will take you there now. No need. Lin Chuchun looked at his brother calmly. This is the last time I will risk everything for you. From now on, we will each work hard based on our own abilities. Chuchun. Chu anxiously grabbed Chuchun's sleeves. You said before that you would help me when I was in the most difficult time. Why did you regret it now? I didn't say I wouldn't help you, otherwise, I wouldn't have rushed back in such a hurry. You knew that I was going to take the college entrance examination in less than half a month, but you still asked me to move to the factory. Chu, you really do you think I'm a fool? I value you as my younger brother, so I ran back without caring about anything. Since you are plotting against me, why should I destroy myself like a moth to a flame? Let's just do it. From now on, neither of us owes anything to the other. Lin Chuchun took out a handkerchief bag from his pocket and handed it to his younger brother. This is from Chuxia, please make up for it with Chunny. After that, he turned around and went out without looking back. Of course, he also carried his luggage in his hands. Chuxia was not surprised at all when she received a call from Chuchun. After persuading the other party for a few words, she said that she had already arranged a house for him. If he was willing, he would move there and study hard. If he was not willing, he would just pretend that she didn't have it. Explain. At this time, how could Lin Chuchun refuse such an arrangement? After putting away his luggage, he immediately went to find Lin Chudong. His cousin was more honest than him. If Lin Chukia used his aunt as a threat, maybe his cousin would compromise. After finally leaving that home and starting a new life, he didn't want his eldest cousin to go back again. Chun'er, Lin Chuia frowned when she saw Chuchun. Don't you still have half a month to take the college entrance examination? Why are you back now? You can't help with Chu's affairs. Why are you messing around? Sister Yuer, where's the eldest brother? Lin Chuchun was usually not a talkative person, so at this moment, he naturally didn't make too many greetings and simply stated the purpose of his visit. We haven't gotten off work yet. Xuan'er and Mao Mao are inside. Lin Chuia led Lin Chuchun inside. Have you been to Chukiu's place? Yet after saying this, Lin Chuchun was speechless. Can't you say a few more words? Lin Chuia turned back and rolled her eyes at him. With a temper like yours, what girl can stand it? If you don't work hard to get into college, it will be difficult for you to marry a wife in the future, he said, but his tone softened. Since I'm back, there's no point in nagging you anymore. In this way, you will live here these days. While you are reviewing, I will take Xuan'er and Mao Mao out to play. Anyway, what happened there in early spring? Son, don't get involved, do you understand? Sister Yuer, you don't have to worry about where you live. Chuxia has arranged it for me. I came here just because I'm afraid that my eldest brother will fall into Chu's scheme again. Lin Chuchun smiled and scratched his head. Actually, I have a sister. Stay alert, big brother, it shouldn't happen, it's just me thinking too much, hee. You brat, you have a conscience. Lin Chuia straightened her expression and looked at him seriously. Where will Xia arrange for you? Is it convenient? Do you live with others? I mean, is it possible? Is it too troublesome to go to my master's house? If that's the case, don't make it difficult for Xia, just live with the eldest sister. Your brother-in-law is on a business trip these days, so it's easy to live at home. Hearing what Lin Chuia said, Lin Chuchun felt a little moved. Chuxia had arranged a single room for him, but he didn't know what was going on in that house. If Chuxia had to pay the rent because of him, he would feel very sorry. Originally, he was worried that Lin Shuya would not be able to live here. If his brother-in-law was away and the children slept with the eldest sister, he and his eldest brother could squeeze in. However, there were many children at home, so it might not be so quiet. The more he thought about it, the more entangled he became. In the end, Lin Shuya couldn't look past it and said that she would wait until Lin Chudong came back to see where he lived with him before making a decision. The house that Chu Xia arranged for Lin Chudong belonged to the Chiao family. She had called her great-aunt before and said that she was afraid that Lin Chuchun would feel uncomfortable, so she deliberately chose a house far away from the Chiao family's old house. However, the biggest advantage of this residence is that it is close to the examination room. Turn left after exiting the door and you will be there in 5 minutes. With such a short distance, it is basically impossible to be late on the day of the examination. After seeing the house, Lin Chudong immediately made the decision, Chu Chun, you can live here. It's better than at home. It's convenient during exams and no one will disturb you when you review. We owe Xia countless things, so don't worry about this little thing. If you are willing, help her more when you get into college and become capable. Why does my sister need my help? Lin Chuchun smiled bitterly, I'm afraid of being used. When I go to my sister's place, I'm afraid that she won't be of any use to her. Hey. Lin Chudong pushed him on the head, don't sigh, study hard and get good grades is the serious thing. Otherwise, you will suffer all for nothing, and you will be even more sorry for Xia. Unfinished, to be continued. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 1151. 1 Update. Ever since he settled in the accommodation arranged by Chu Xia, Lin Chuchun has been in crazy mode. He gets up on time at 5:30 every morning, washes up and has breakfast, starts reviewing on time at 6 o'clock, eats at 12 noon, takes a short rest, and at 1 o'clock start working hard again, have dinner at 6 o'clock in the evening, resume work at 7 o'clock in the evening, and then go to bed at 10 o'clock in the evening. Of course, he didn't cook the food himself. Every day, Lin Shuya would bring over all the food for the next day, and he could just heat it up himself. After only 5 or 6 days, he became obviously haggard. Lin Shuya, who came over to deliver meals to Lin Chuchun that night, finally couldn't help it anymore. Chuchun, it's a good thing that you work hard, but look at what you are like now, will you still be energetic when the exam comes? Sister, I can hold on. Lin Chuchun rubbed his red eyes and smiled at Lin Shuya, although I look a little out of breath, in fact I'm not tired at all. Don't worry, sister. Well, I won't use too much force. With the way you are now, who can believe that you are not tired at all? Lin Shuya rolled her eyes at him and frowned, if you don't listen to me, I will call your sister Chuxia and ask her I'll take care of you. No, 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 Lin Chuchun waved her hands repeatedly, sister you must never call sister Chuxia. If she can't see it, she might really believe it. She has already troubled her enough. If I make her worry and come here again, then I will be guilty of a big crime. Down left arrow, up left arrow x.net. Lin Shuya sighed, it's okay not to call. You can adjust the time a little more relaxedly. You said that you are like you now. After reading this book, can it still be imprinted in your mind? Only by combining work and rest can you get twice the result with half the effort. In the early spring, I have also been here since I was a student. I know very well how to be efficient. Now, you are just too impatient and will push yourself to death. Don't think it's my sister's bad words, if you can't understand. If you keep pushing yourself like this, the final result will definitely not be what you want. Listen to my sister. Go stay with your sister tonight and talk to your elder brother by the way, okay? After hesitating for a while, Lin Chuchun tugged at his hair, sister, I understand everything you said. But I just feel that there is not enough time. If I don't hurry up, I will definitely regret it when the exam comes. Do you think your arrangement is effective? After hesitating for a while, Lin Chuchun sighed, I don't know either. Not knowing means uncertainty, and uncertainty means you haven't seen the same effect as you expected, so, why are you forcing yourself like this? Actually, you also understand in your heart, but if you don't sit at the table or open a book, you won't feel at ease, right? Lin Chuo sighed, Chuchun, you put too much pressure on yourself. Sister Yuer, I can't help but put pressure on myself. You've seen how noisy the family is, and Chu plotted against me like that. If I don't show off, I'll really be looked down upon by them. Also, in order to help me, Sister Chuxia has paid so much. I don't want Sister Chuxia's in-laws to think that she is helping a relative who is not worth helping. Speaking of this, Lin Chuchun smiled bitterly, actually, I know he is no longer a relative of Sister Chuxia. To be honest, the children of his enemies are almost the same. Chuxia is willing to help you, which means she thinks you are worthy of her help. If it were her before, I might have doubts, but this time, after contacting her, I found that she is no longer the original herself. Do things in a measured and clear manner, and you are neither a good person nor a generous person. If you are truly grateful for her kindness to you, I will still say the same thing, adjust your state and do your best to do this. No matter what the result is, we have no regrets. As long as we try our best, there will be no regrets. Besides, if we miss this opportunity, there will be another time. You are still so young, so there is no need to give yourself a penalty early. Carrying a big baggage. If it's not what you expected and you don't want to trouble Chuxia, come to Big Sister. Whether it's work or residence, Big Sister will help you find a way. With your character and your hard work, Big Sister believes that you will succeed sooner or later. Thing. Sister Yuer, do you really think so? Lin Chuchun's eyes widened in surprise. I remember that Sister Yuer used to always laugh at me for being stupid like a pig. That's all a joke, do you still take it seriously? Lin Chuo rolled her eyes at him. According to what you said, I have to be strict when talking to you in the future. Sister Yuer, you weren't joking at that time. You really didn't like me. Lin Chuchun looked at Lin Chuo with a troubled expression. I can still understand this. Okay, even if I'm not joking, are you the same back then as you are now? You are just a few hours older than Chu. How many annoying things have you done to protect him? If nothing else, take your sister Chuxia as an example. She was not very sensible at that time, but when Chuxia bullied her, when did you not follow her? Although you will find a way to compensate Chuxia later, why do you have to make up for it after hurting others? That's what I didn't like about you at that time. I went to protect Chuxia without knowing what was right and wrong, but as a result. Lin Chuo spread her hands. Look at how you protected him. If you hadn't given him that illusion before, would he now feel that whatever you do for him is what he should do? After being silent for a long time, Lin Chuchun nodded. Sister Yuer is right, I used to be too ignorant. It's rare that Sister Chuxia didn't care about me, Okay, it's not too late to realize your mistakes now. Remember what I said, as long as you try your best and work hard, no matter what the result is, accept it calmly. Don't be a loser. Look at Lin Chuqiu, then that's an example. It's not that he can't afford to lose, he just doesn't want to work hard and just wants to win. Sighing, Lin Chuchun stood up. Sister, I will go home with you. I really miss my elder brother and Mao Mao and Xuani R, especially Xuani R, it's so pitiful to have such a girl in the stall. Early the next morning, Chu Yu still called Chu Xia and told her about Chu Chun's situation. At the end, she said, Xia, if he calls you again, you should persuade him. I think although he said I figured it out, but I still haven't let go of the ideological burden. Okay, when he called me later, I advised him, by the way, sister, after the exam is over in early spring, will you come with him? I told him when he went back that he would bring Mau Mau and Juanier with him. Come together, since I'm not at work right now, so why don't we just come together? Okay, I will discuss it with your brother-in-law later. He is on a business trip and will be back in about 10 days. Even if I go, I have to wait until he comes back. Okay, sister, let me know when you've decided, and I'll arrange a car to pick you up. No, 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 Lin Chui quickly refused, we can just take the train ourselves. If you arrange a car to pick us up, we really won't go. Xia, I am also someone else's daughter-in-law. I know the rules of being a daughter-in-law better than you. No matter how well your in-laws treat you, you cannot take it for granted. Over time, even a good-tempered person will feel uncomfortable. Instead of waiting for others to tell you and then pay attention, it is better not to do something annoying. If your daughter is angry with your mother will never remember your daughter's grudge. If your daughter and her mother-in-law have a conflict, you will never be able to go back. What my sister is telling you is all my own personal experience. Don't take it seriously. Now that your brother-in-law is gone and you have 2 little babies to protect you, your husband's family will do whatever they want. After a long time, it will really become worse. There's nothing I can say. Of course, I'm not provoking you when I say this, but I just don't want. Chu Xia interrupted Lin Chui with a smile, sister, I understand what you mean when you tell me this. Don't worry, if you don't understand, my sister is really kind to me, and I won't ask her to come over and play. Okay, if you take the train, just take the train. In fact, I just thought it was inconvenient for you to take the car with your 2 children, so I wanted Uncle Wang to pick you up. Since my sister said so, let me take the car. Actually. After a pause, Chu Xia continued with a smile, I'm not afraid that my husband's family will be angry with me, so I don't let Uncle Wang pick up my sister. I just feel that with my sister's character, if I persist, sister will definitely not come, hee hee. You're really right. Lin Chui also smiled, maybe I went too far, but it's better to think about everything more than to make up for it later. Okay, listen to sister. Chu Xia stopped making distinctions. The other party was really doing her best, so why did she have to distinguish right from wrong and argue about it? 2 days after passing the exam, Lin Chui and Lin Chuchun came to the capital with Mau Mau and Juanier. Lin Chudong has adapted to the life of a worker. Although he is a little reluctant to leave Juanier, now Juanier is watched over by his sister most of the time. His sister wants to take the child to see the world, so naturally he will not stop. How's the test going? Chu Xia asked Chuchun as soon as they met. How confident do you feel? Don't blame her for not giving him time to breathe. The whole family is really thinking about this. Sure enough, after Chu Xia finished speaking, Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe also looked at Lin Chuchun. Although they were no longer related to the Lin family in Dalian village, they still treated Chuchun and Chu Dongchui, who treated them sincerely. They are sons and nephews, so caring about them is naturally sincere. Hey! Lin Chuchun sighed heavily, I can't say anything now. I feel okay, but after checking the answers with my classmates, I found that I made a lot of mistakes. I don't dare to think too much now. Anyway. He looked at Chu Xia apologetically, sister, I have tried my best. If the result is not good, don't be disappointed. I will continue to work hard and fight again next year.